a huge award-winning RPG is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, and it's pretty much all been not confirmed / confirmed. Now, we've had rumors about Expedition 33 coming over to Nintendo Switch 2. Nate the Hate is sure that it's still coming and it should be announced this year, but now we have some anecdotal evidence that pretty much just says it's coming, because as much as a lot of these developers say it's about the art and it's about creating games and it's about living out our dreams, it's also about making cold hard cash. And there's one place that's exploding, especially when it comes to RPGs, and that's the Nintendo Switch 2, and Expedition 33 is not on that platform. Now, they've made a lot of money on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. They've sold over 8 million units. It's actually one of the better selling JRPGs, or more like turn-based RPGs, of all time, especially in the traditional fashion. But I think that the Nintendo Switch 2 provides them a unique opportunity to get in early in the system's life and to put it on a system to where a lot of people like turn-based RPGs, and they can probably sell over the course of the generation at least 1 million copies or so of this game. So we're going to talk about what's happening there and why there's some really big anecdotal evidence, in addition to a bunch of great Switch 2 news, including Mario Kart World getting a big update. But before we continue, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 at 140,000 subscribers, or on September 1st, whichever comes first. Subscribe, like, comment. The winner will be chosen at random, and it's a worldwide giveaway. Thanks, peeps. Okay, Clair Obscure Expedition 33. Why this game is pretty much for sure coming at this point? Well, because the director, the guy who put together this, the main marketing guy and the producer, he has talked about it. Gematsu, if I said that name correctly, he spoke about iconic games. And of course, what was one of the games that he said was truly iconic? The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And it just seems very interesting. Yes, he had other games that he talked about, I get that, but man, to me, he's just trying to get into the graces too. Not saying that he doesn't like Breath of the Wild, but I think he truly made sure to talk about this in this type of way so it would get picked up, and of course start initiating himself into the Nintendo fans, I would say, atmosphere with this topic, because everyone's covering it now in terms of what he had to say. So let's get into his quotes on this. It's truly exceptional. In my opinion, it's the first open world game that actually delivered on the promise of an open world, of simply not having a mini map. You have a big map, but you really get that sense of exploration. You see something, you want to go there, and you can, or you can do something else. The world is truly open. In that sense, 10,000 things can happen along the way, and you get sidetracked. You never end up where you want to go because you keep getting sidetracked by all sorts of things. As Broche concludes, in terms of level design, it's an absolute masterclass. I can certainly agree there. As a longtime Zelda fan myself, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are wonderful. So this is just something, like I said, he was talking about a lot of other games too, but he's trying to just kind of put it out there. He wants to talk about it. He knows Nintendo fans are going to pick this up and appreciate that. They really like when developers appreciate other things about certain games, and it makes them more willing to check out what they have to offer. And Expedition 33 has a lot to offer. It's a great game. It was my game of the year for 2025. I thought it was fantastic. It was right there with Donkey Kong Bonanza, slight edge to Expedition 33, but Donkey Kong Bonanza was also incredible. It's like 1-2 or like 1 and 1A, however you want to phrase it. But for me, yeah, Expedition is great. It's not perfect. There's definitely a number of things, if you play traditional JRPGs, that you're going to say, well, wait a minute, this is really sloppily or lazily done, or there's not really much depth to this aspect of it. I just got done playing Romancing Saga Revenge of the Seven, and there are a ton of things significantly better as a JRPG in that game than Expedition 33. But then again, that is a remake of an old school game done by people who have been making RPGs for a very long time with Square Enix, so I understand. But Expedition tries to do something a little bit different when it comes to their execution, with their graphical style and their story. Kind of all that put together did give us something a bit different that we haven't quite seen, especially from a Western studio emulating a Japanese RPG. So looking forward to Expedition 33. I think it's going to come over. I think it's going to be announced sometime this year. We could have a Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase or another Nintendo Direct, or just a random Twitter drop at some point with the video talking about it from Mr. Gematsu here. So we'll see about that. But we're also going to see about Mario Kart World, because this game has got some new content added in, and they're going to slowly add content in. I know not everyone's happy with exactly how the content drops have been for Mario Kart World, but it's not a live service game, and I think people need to realize that. It's not something to where you're going to get brand new events and brand new things every single like month or every single couple of weeks. It's just a standard game, and they'll just add stuff whenever they feel like adding stuff. So let's go over what's happening here with the Mario Kart World version 1.7.0 update. So we've got new routes added to Knockout Tour. Knockout Tour is a mode where you race from one end of the vast world to the other. It starts with 24 drivers, and if you don't place high enough, by the time you reach each of the 5 checkpoints, you're out. Now, 2 new routes are being added to Knockout Tour: Drill Rally and Boomerang Rally. In Drill Rally, a new route that connects Wario Shipyard to Bowser's Castle, and then Boomerang Rally, a route that connects Salty Speedway and Whistle Stop Summit. These new routes become selectable once you clear at least one Knockout Tour rally. Additional Knockout Tour routes are also being planned for future updates, so at least they let us know about that. They've also got a new sticker mode added into the photo mode, so when taking pictures using photo mode, you can now place stickers you've collected. You can also combine them with frames, making it easy to create original photos. You can use touch controls or Joy-Con 2 mouse controls to play stickers, so give it a try. I'm pretty sure a lot of the hardcore Mario Kart fans that capture epic finishes and things will have fun with that photo mode. So this is definitely a good thing to see them adding in this extra content. Like I stated, I understand not everyone's happy with the amount of content being added in, but it is free, quote unquote, content added afterwards. I still think that they're going to do a pretty big content drop and overhaul when it comes to the 2.0 update. I think when 2.0 comes around, that's when they're going to do something major, but I don't think it's going to be this year. I think it's going to probably be next year. So 2 years, we're probably going to see some DLC. We're probably going to see a bigger type of drop. I think they wanted to let us know, okay, maybe for the rest of this year, they're going to add some new Knockout Tour routes. And then I think maybe next year will be exactly when they add in the extra DLC, maybe some new characters. They might even add in new characters and extra things throughout this year. But I still feel like the big DLC or expansions or new things being added in is going to be next year, because when you look back at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, people kind of look at that game because we played it for so long and think it was the same game the whole time, but it was not. When the game originally dropped in 2014 for the Wii U, it was pretty bare bones, especially even when compared to Mario Kart World and how that launched. It got content added over time, and even the Nintendo Switch 1 version is upgraded. They added another item, they added a bunch of different things to the game, they fixed some of the stuff when it comes to the battle mode and all of that, and then we had to wait, I think even like 5 years or something like that after that to get new courses added in, because people kept on buying Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Nintendo Switch 1. So it did take a while for the game to take shape and form the way that it was. It was not instant in 2014 or 2017 or even 2018 or 2019. It did take some time. So I do think that with Mario Kart World, it's not going to take as long, but I think that they're going to just slowly add in content and have a big drop after a bit. But once again, unlike the game before, this one is $80. It's on a more expensive system, so I understand where people are coming from that are maybe a little bit disappointed with some of the different things added in. I don't take Mario Kart too seriously. I don't sit there and play it 24/7. I just kind of play it casually with family, so I'm not necessarily the same type of person that's going to get kind of crazy about Mario Kart, but I get it for the people that are more intense players and that we're looking for a bit more, especially considering the normal standard price of the game being $80. But once again, that bundle's there for people if they want to get that, where most people are getting it within the Choose Your Game bundle or within the original Mario Kart World bundle for the Nintendo Switch 2. But like I said, we will see what they end up doing and what they end up adding throughout this year and when that bigger DLC drop is. Now, they could announce that DLC drop maybe later this year and then it launches next year. But once again, I have no idea. I think I predicted DLC for this year, and I'm not sure we're going to get any big DLC for this year outside of them just adding in extra different types of things here. But I do think that this game is going to be around for a long time, and they're going to continue adding content for a long time. But a game that's going to be here pretty shortly is Kyoto Xanadu. This is a brand new RPG from Falcom, and it's looking pretty good. It's dropping this month in Japan, and a Western release is planned. So Falcom has released a 2-minute trailer and new TV commercial for Kyoto Xanadu, featuring new gameplay cuts and the theme from by an in-game virtual singer, Lino N. The theme song is also available now to download or stream via music services like Mora, Music.jp, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, and YouTube Music. Now, Kyoto Xanadu is due out for the PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch 1, and PC via Steam on July 16th in Japan and Asia. A Western release is also planned, but we don't have a release date for that just yet. Maybe they're waiting to announce that one. I think the localization might be taking a little bit longer. Falcom's been good when it comes to some of the games getting localizations, like Trails in the Sky First Chapter, but I do think probably a little bit smaller budget game like this is going to take a little bit longer for their localization teams to make sure that they get it right. I do think that they were spooked back when it comes to Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana. That localization was so bad for the US and for Western speaking languages, they had to apologize with how bad that was. So I think that they don't want to repeat ever again a localization that bad for that game when it originally came out. So I think that taking that time, making sure that the localization is good, make sure that you got everything in order, and then you can also navigate the landmines that are the games that are coming out. There are so many big games, even Falcom themselves dropping Trails in the Sky second chapter for this year as well. So there's a lot of games. So I think kind of strategically putting this game into somewhere is going to be the best bet for them. But I'm honest, man, like I don't know where it's going to fit. I think maybe August would be a good spot for it. There aren't as many games in August, so maybe July 16th in Japan and Asia, and then sometime in August for the Western markets. But what do you guys think about Kyoto Xanadu? I think the gameplay looks pretty cool, but I also think Tomb Raider is pretty cool, and Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is getting a full on-cart physical for the Nintendo Switch 2 from Limited Run Games. So they've teamed up with Crystal Dynamics to produce a physical version of Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Remember, this is the 2013 Tomb Raider game, originally released on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, and then they took that game and ported it over to the Nintendo Switch 1, but then also ported that version over to the Nintendo Switch 2. So there's some things in that game that look different from the PS4 and Xbox One versions of that game that look a bit better, but they've also updated it for it to be a little bit better with the hair stuff. So it's kind of weird, but at the same time, this collector's edition looks pretty cool. I do have the game. I bought it digital just because I want to support the big AAA titles. Even if they're older ones coming over, I want to support Tomb Raider on the platform. And we are getting the new Tomb Raider remake of the original game, which is pretty dope. That looks like it's going to be good. So Tomb Raider, they heard us talk about wanting a physical edition, and we've got it here. So the game's physical release includes all the DLC, online multiplayer, and bonus content. You can either choose to purchase the game by itself or a special collector's edition. You can pre-order it on July 2nd at 10 a.m. EST, 3 p.m. UK time. And yeah, this collector's edition has some pretty cool stuff. Steel case, Pry-Axe keychain, map. You also have a soundtrack CD. You got CDs in 2026. Let's go. And the standard edition of the game, plus a nice box too. So I might actually pick up this collection edition. It actually looks pretty snaggy when it comes down to it. They're also celebrating the 10th anniversary of Limited Run. Now, Limited Run has had a pretty spotty track record. People sometimes order on Limited Run, and man, you might not get your game. It'll be so long you forgot that you even ordered the game. I know I purchased a few games from Limited Run, and that's how I felt. I would order it and I would forget it, and then it would just show up at my house. So it's like, man, by that time I'm already playing other stuff. I'm already like, okay, I'm just gonna move on to something else. Like, so I get it for some people that have like this hatred when it comes for a Limited Run. I've seen so many crazy things online about it, but like I said, this is something that's pretty nice, and it's a collector's edition. So I would say that a lot of people that maybe are buying this game, maybe they already have a digital edition of the game, but if you really want to actually play the game, just get it digital and get this whenever you feel like getting it, because you don't know when it's going to show up. I mean, they might tell you one thing, but you have no idea when it's going to show up. So I do recommend, if you're looking to actually play the game, just buy it digital and get this for the collector's edition to hang it up on the wall or to have it on your shelf or something like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I already have the game digital. This looks great though. And that collector's edition price does go for $79.99. So not too bad on that collector's edition, while the standard edition of the game goes for $49.99. So also not too bad. More expensive than the digital version, which is I think 20 bucks or so, but not bad when it comes to the on-cart physical, but it does show you how much it does add to the cost of the game for it to be like 20 bucks or something like that, and it goes up to 50. So those on-carts are more expensive when it comes to Switch 2. And there's no Switch 1 version, so also keep that in mind. And I don't think it's a Switch 1 and Switch 2 cart like how Nintendo does like a Switch 2 edition. I don't think it's that. So I think this one only works on the Nintendo Switch 2, but I could be wrong on that, okay? Not 100% sure. But what do you guys think about everything we talked about here? A lot of info. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, peeps, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you for the next one. Peace.